Right, guys, I got some good news for you. So, out to all the hair loss sufferers, all the guys out there that your hair just starts giving up on you, your hair just starts vacating, hair's had enough. Okay, shout out the hair loss sufferers. It's a rough road. Mine started thinning when I was like, I didn't really notice it late. When I got married, I thought I had a full head of hair. It was there, had the curls on top, but I kind of noticed that the sides would grow way strong, more strong than the top. The sides would grow stronger than the top. So I started to realize it was thinning a bit on the top. So, oh shit! So obviously you start to panic. You start to think about like, okay, what can I do to fix this? Because if you got these visions of this monk look, do you know, where it's just skin? You got the cul-de-sac and you start to envision yourself at the cul-de-sac. You're like, I'm not trying to look 50 when I'm like 30. That's not the look I'm going for right now. So you start trying to do your bits and it gets a bit wild out there because you're watching videos and people are saying this and that. There's a lot of advice flowing out there and you try little bits. Start putting all sorts on your hair, and you don't even know where you're at because it takes so long to see the results. Like you might be doing something that's actually helping, but it takes so long to see the results, and you've got to be so consistent with it that you can get kind of stuck in this pattern of doing it for a bit and then kind of getting a bit defeated and stopping. And anyway, long story short, I finally had some actual results, and I've got the proof. So the first result I had, and I've had it for a little while, was I stopped the hair loss because it was thinning, and you're thinking, yeah, if this carries on, I'm in trouble. Again, just to say quickly as well, just there's too much pressure on how we look. Okay, let's focus on who we are. Let's focus on our intention. Let's judge people on their heart, not their hair. It's crazy. It's so shallow and dumb. But as humans, we can be very shallow and dumb. We're out here as humans. We're humaning, okay? And we make judgments off very silly things. So there's a lot of pressure on us guys and our hair. Because we know, like, hair can beautify you, and there's a lot of pressure. Okay, so I managed to stop my hair loss, and the thing I found that worked for me was it was a mix of things. I was laughing before because I tried a lot of things. I tried the onion juice and I never was considering any sort of drug. Never, never, never. If you know me, I'm super natural. I do everything as naturally as I can. So drugs was just never an option. Like I'm not risking any sort of side effects on my body or my long-term health. Like I say, like having hair is not that deep. There's too much pressure. It's too much pressure. Focus on your heart, focus on your intention. So let me show you. I'll show you what I'm working with. Now, if I didn't tell you I was suffering from hair loss, be honest, would you guess? Would you have said, or would you just thought I shaved my head and like the shaved head look, which I do. Let me show you again. Okay. Now I've got some pictures from before that will show you the mess I was in before, and I'm gonna show those when I edit the video. I'll kind of put them in or whatever. So I managed to stop the hair loss. Recently, I've been doing something, which I'll explain. I'll explain everything. That is reversing the hair loss. Like it's reversing it. Like when I look at the old pictures to this, I'm like, oh, this is there's a nice even grayness. I wouldn't say it's 100% reversed, but it's in the process of reversing. When you see the pictures, this evenness. When I shaved my head, this evenness was not there. There was dark here, dark here, dark here, kind of across here, light here. You know, the classic. It was light here and it was light here. But now if you look, it's a lot more even. Again, I wouldn't say it's 100%, but it's reversing. It's gone from maybe it was like 30%, and now I'd say that's a good, I don't know, 80%, 90%. I don't know. It depends how picky you're trying to get, but it's the light is kind of throwing it off a bit. There's a nice evenness there. Nothing that anyone would feel self-conscious about in any way. It just kind of looks like just a shaved head. Okay, so now on to the how I did it. Okay, so like I said, I tried all sorts of things, but the thing that worked was, first of all, I used a derma stamp. Okay, so I started with a derma roller. Okay, and the derma roller, I was using that. And I kind of found, I don't know, just didn't really like it. So I went on to the stamp, where you just kind of press down. And I way preferred the derma stamp. Okay. And I was using that with, I was trying a few oils at the time. But basically the rosemary oil is the one that they say competes with minoxidil. Okay, so that straight away piqued my interest. Scientific studies, you know, so, okay, you're dealing with science. Okay, so I used the rosemary oil and I'd mixed that with, what was I mixing it with before? That oil's irrelevant because I go on to the oil that works. Maybe I was mixing it with coconut oil or something like that. But the oil that works, that's been working for me, is the botana oil. Genuinely, like, I'll go to my AI. I asked AI to give me the measurements, and it said a specific measurement, so many drops per milliliter. You're not using much rosemary oil as well. This is something that I used to think. Surely if you use more rosemary oil, you can have better results. But when I spoke to the AI, it said use a certain amount of botana oil, melt it down, and then add in the rosemary oil. And it's really not that much. Like I said, I'll get the exact numbers. So basically, it was simple. What ended up working for me was the derma pen, or the stamp, and the botana oil and the rosemary oil. Then I upgraded the stamp to the derma pen. You know, it's the same thing. You're doing a similar thing, but it's just way easier. One thing I will say is the stamp, you can kind of control the pain because you can just kind of slowly press. The derma pen, I felt like it hurt more. Not too much, but it did. There was a bit of a sting there. I used the derma pen on 1 millimeter, and I used that once a week to once every 10 days. And that was just waiting for, the video's gone a bit longer. It's fine. Waiting for it to feel like it's like settled. Once you've done it, like it kind of throbs a bit. You feel this really nice kind of throbbing feeling, like all in there. And to me, that felt like it was like blood was just traveling there. Like it was like throbbing, like you could feel your head. And it felt like it completely healed after about 7 to 10 days. So that's when I do it again. Once I felt like there wasn't any sort of stingy, it just felt like normal again. And the botana oil and the rosemary oil, I'd add that twice a week. Now, the top tip I'd say, the top tip is it's so much easier if you shave your head. Obviously, this is almost the thing that people are trying to avoid, because if you've got like hair and you're using your hair to feel better looking, then shaving your head is like a shock to the system, because it completely changes your look. And yeah, you almost have to, well, depending on what your preference is, but for most people, they're going to downgrade their looks if they cut their hair off, because hair is like a beautifier. Okay. So, but again, let's be mature here. Let's grow up for a second. Okay. Judge people on their heart, not their hair. Judge yourself on your heart, not your hair. How kind are you to people? Okay. How much do you care about saying nice things rather than going and judging someone? If you're still judging people, then you're just living in your own karma. You know, that feeling you're feeling is your judgment. Okay. Stop judging people and you learn to stop judging yourself. Stop judging yourself and you learn to stop judging people. That's how you're happier. Okay. So shave your head and it will make it easier to do this. You'll have way more control. Now, another thing that started happening when I was doing the derma stamp and the derma pen was I I was able to basically get my nails, and if I went in the shower and I put, I don't use shampoo, I use African black soap all over my body. So I don't use shampoo. Sometimes I'll use lemon juice, but less and less I've been using that as a shampoo and just been using the soap. And when I put the soap on and then I get my nails and I'll scrape, I was able to get like layers of dead skin, what it seemed like layers of dead skin. And so I'd do this again. It kind of came with the derma. It kind of fit in with the pattern of the derma pen, because it was almost like the derma pen was like, I don't know, breaking this top layer of skin or something. I'm not sure exactly scientifically what was happening, but obviously it's puncturing loads of holes, and then there's a healing process. It releases certain things, certain growth hormones, and um, but also that layer of skin that was getting punctured. It's almost like it was kind of damaged and then healing. I could scrape it off, and I'd do that maybe every week. So I found it was almost like a layer of skin was coming off every week or two, which to me again, that I saw that as something super positive, because if there's certain toxins, or if the condition of the scalp is in a certain way that is suffocating the follicles, or there's certain dead skin that isn't allowing the follicles to work their magic and grow how they're meant to. To me, it made sense that it was almost like just a reset, where my scalp now feels just so elastic and healthy. Even when I look back at the pictures you probably would have seen the pictures by now, but I'll kind of maybe put them back up again. My scalp, as I was looking at it, it kind of, for me, it looked a bit more inflamed. Like there was a certain kind of redness and a certain kind of oiliness. The picture I'll show you is when I've just shaved my head. The two pictures are, I've literally just shaved my head. This is actually shaving my head yesterday. So this also actually gives it credit, because the darkness isn't overpowering. That's good. Okay, this is good. The darkness isn't massively overpowering the weaker areas. That's a good shot. There's a real nice evenness there, and even just the hairline. You know, before here wasn't really showing itself. It was more showing here, and here wasn't showing itself as much. Um, so that's what I found was really really working some magic. So you've got the dermapen breaking up and creating these micro injuries in the hair, creating the allowing the cell to trigger a kind of regrowth, re-stimulation. But then you've also got the fact that it's just clearing kind of that layer of skin, and then it's going to be, producing a fresh layer. You've got the botana oil, which is known to be a beast for helping with hair loss. And then you're adding the rosemary oil to that in very exact amounts, not too much. Less is more with the rosemary oil, the essential oil. Okay. And then I'm using Africa Black soap for a shampoo. And when I'm in the shower, I'm scraping as much as I can. Really, really making sure I'm just getting my nails and just, again, don't hurt yourself. Don't be silly. Don't make yourself bleed or anything like that. But I'm really making sure I'm scraping that layer of skin. Okay. So the same thing I did for my beard, and I might put that in a separate video, but I'll show. That's my beard now, and I'll show a picture of got this big old patch here. I don't know if it was stress. I don't know exactly what caused that. But for a long time, it was just this big old patch here. And then I came at it with the derma stamp. And this was before I got the derma pen, and I was just using the derma stamp. I'll admit on this area, when I was doing this, I was making it bleed. Not even overly intentionally. It's just because it's so thin. And as soon as you kind of press a bit, you're almost like, you're pushing into your chin, jaw area, and it would just bleed. I wouldn't necessarily recommend to do that, but just that's something I noticed when I was doing this. This didn't bleed. Okay. Only when I was doing the derma stamp and I pushed too hard, it would bleed. But I don't necessarily recommend that. You don't want to push too hard. You don't want to go too deep. You don't want to kind of like damage your the deeper layers of your scalp. So yeah, the positive news that I found is that the natural ways do work. Like, first of all, the first stage is just stopping it. So if you can have your hair loss stop, that's a massive win. If you can kind of like get it to stop at a certain point and you're not losing any more hair, that's a win. The next win is to reverse that and get it to kind of thicken up. Okay. Or at least when it's shorter, just not look, bits darker and bits lighter and patchy. Okay, so to break it down, what I'd recommend if you're suffering from hair loss, the sooner you get on it, the better for a start. Okay. I never got to a point where the follicles were missing. They just went really thin. And like I say, this area here, you'll see in the picture, was light, and this the classic alopecia, androgenic alopecia area, the classic boom boom. So shave your head down. Okay, get a derma pen, 1 millimeter. You're going to be going over that. Maybe you're probably going to be doing it for about 10 minutes, nice and slow. You don't have to go crazy, but you want to get this feeling, this kind of like this throbby kind of feeling. You'll feel it. It's like you can just feel like the blood is just being pumped there. That's how it feels. Like it's literally being pumped to the top of your head. Let that heal. You don't want to put the botana oil with the rosemary oil on straight away. Give it a day or two. Get the botana oil on. Because you shave your head down, just get it right in there. And then to be honest, with the African black soap, because I use it like a soap, I just soap. It's not like I shampoo. I'm just soaping my body so my hair gets it too. And as soon as I feel any sort of looseness, I'm scraping. Okay? And that's what I did. And I've just been doing that. And the results surprised me. Even the missus, the wife, she was like, oh, I think it's working. And you doubt, because you don't want to give yourself false hope. You don't want to kind of be like, oh, it's working. And then a week later, you feel like, oh, it's not working. And you feel kind of deflated. So she was like saying, I swear it's working. And I was kind of looking at it thinking, maybe, I guess. I hadn't looked at the old pictures for a while. When I look back at the old pictures, I was like, it's working. Like, it's actually working. Now, my end goal is to be able to have my hair back to when I was like 25. I'm not sure. Like I said, I feel like it's recovered about 80%, maybe more. When it grows out this time, this is the most even it's looked. This is the first time I've shaved it down at this kind of level of recovery. But to be honest, with it nice and short, it's just so much easier to treat. Sometimes I'll grow it out. If you kind of look on my profile or whatever, you'll see there's points where my hair's kind of grown out, and it's just way harder to do the treatment. So good news. This video is quite long, but maybe you're here for just the chat. Maybe it's too long, but still golden advice. And the simple advice, I think what I'll do is I'll put in a marker to this point, just so if you want the simple advice, you can get it. So the quick version of what I've said in the last 20 minutes is I used a Dermapen at 1 millimeter every 7 to 10 days, depending on the recovery of my scalp. And I made sure when I used it, it was for about 10 to 15 minutes to get the throbbing going. A day or two after that, I'll apply the botana oil with the rosemary oil mix. And as I'm doing this daily, whenever you shower, I'm just soaping myself. I'm not even thinking like about shampooing my hair. I'm just soaping myself, and my head is a part of that. When I'm soaping my head, I'm using my nails to scrape forward and trying to see if there's any dead skin, anything I can kind of scrape off. And I was finding like, a good amount of dead skin in my nails, after doing this. Like, you'd be surprised at how much kind of can come off. And I've just been repeating that. Also, eating healthy. Come on, let's not be childish now. Okay, eat organic fruits and vegetables. Just, it's common sense. Okay, eat organic fruits and vegetables, exercise, and look after your heart and your mental state. You deserve to be happy. Okay, we, as souls, we take on these bodies. Life can be cripplingly hard. Okay, remember, as a soul, you're infinitely amazing. Okay, use this to remind yourself that you deserve to be happy. A mixture of those things, the happiness, because that's a chemical state. The cortisol is going to affect your recovery, the stress, and combine all those things together, and then just give it time. It's going to take a while. Don't expect results 6 months to a year. And this is what I was saying at the start of the video. This is kind of one of the hardest parts, is you have to be so patient, and you have to kind of hope for results for so long. But just rest assured you can do it. That's the golden advice. That's the thing. It does work. Look, boom. Would you feel disappointed having a shaved head of that consistency? I wouldn't. Now, the pictures I showed before, I kind of would. I didn't overly like the shaved head look where you've got a dark bit here and it's light here and it's dark. I didn't really like being patchy pull on top. Okay, that's not the look I'm going for. But I put up with it so I could go through the stages properly and treat my scalp how it needed to be treated. Okay, so this is a long ass video, but I hope it inspires you to understand that you can do it. You can heal it naturally. You don't need the drugs with the side effects to recover. And on your journey to recovering your hair, just remember, okay, that you are more than enough without your hair. Because guess what? You're more than enough without your whole body. The energy you are before you took on physical form is unbelievably beautiful, okay? So don't worry about being patchy pull, okay? And if people try and take the piss, just recognize that that's just them projecting. That's their unhappiness. Anyone who comes to you and tries to take the mick out of your hair is basically saying, oh, I'm really unhappy. You say, wow, I feel sorry for you. I show them empathy. You must be really unhappy. To go up to someone and say something negative, you have to be so unhappy. Like, who does that? Tell me what happy person you know goes up to someone else and says something negative. Well, you don't know anyone like that, because no happy person, guess what, is negative. So if you're negative, you're not happy. And if you're not happy, then who are you kidding? Who are you trying to feel better than? If you're not happy and you're trying to feel happy by going and being negative to someone else, then not only are you not happy, you're also stupid. So you're unhappy and stupid. Well done. Good for you. Have a good day. Okay? Waste of energy. Where your energy should be is love, healing, uplifting. Okay? So, yeah, I think I've spoken enough in this video. Just remember to love yourself, love the people around you, and yeah, your hair can grow back, so can your beard. Good times.